Alright, this is my Smittybilt air compressor. Had it for a while. It's their biggest one they make. It's their model or part number 2781. I like it. It's been pretty good. But what I did was I bought this little threaded adapter that threads in here, and it gives me a quick chuck, I guess, where I just click it on and I don't have to sit there and try to thread it onto the valve stem. Problem with that is this chuck is normally closed, so while your compressor is running, it's building up pressure, and whatever, I think it's at I don't know, around 120 or something like that. I forgot exactly where, but then it hits the blow off on here, and it keeps cycling that because every time you take it off the tire, the compressor's still running. So goal has been to add a pressure switch. There's a few versions I found online that guys have done. There's another one where they did it back here. They added the T and the pressure switch back here, but it takes a little bit more parts to do it back here because it has like a special thread. Here you have to buy a special adapter that goes on here. It's like one person on Amazon that sells it. Then I found another version where the guy did it over here, which I was like, oh, that's way better because you don't have all the stuff hanging out back here. It's a little bit more slimmer, you can see, kind of in line with the rest of the unit. Looks a little bit cleaner and just overall cheaper to do. I went to my local Home Depot, bought this Husky brass T-fitting. You can see right there, part number 661219. I think that was like $4 or $5 for this little single T. And then I went and bought a coupler. They had this coupler there too. Came with two of these right here. There's the part number right there, 1003202525. And it came with two of these and a coupler. You can see right here. The reason for this is the T would not be able to thread it. I mean, it would thread in here, but there you can see there's just not enough room to fit this in here. So you need that coupler, and then and then one of these, I don't know what you call this, little extension for it, and it basically extends it out. Then you can reinstall your pressure switch or your pressure switch, and then the overpressure valve, I guess. And then so that's where we're at now. And then I'm in the process of wiring in the pressure switch so that it's gonna work like a regular compressor, I guess. All right, so I got the case pulled apart here so I can get to the wiring. Basically what I did was take the nut off the breaker right here. That way I can pull this out of the way and get the relay out. I needed to take a look in here and see where all the wires ran, so I know which ones I need to tee into. In your case, when you're doing this, you probably wouldn't need to take it all apart, since I can show you here. Basically, you can see this black wire that's running into this harness right here. That's the wire we're gonna use to tap into or tee into. Is it tee into or tap into? I don't know. We're just gonna cut it, and we're gonna put a pressure switch in line with it. So that wire actually goes to, let's see if I can get in here. So basically that switch up there's two wires on there. You can see there's a red and a black, and basically we're going to use the black side of the switch, the black wire, and that's what this is right here. We're just going to cut it, solder in two wires into it. I've already drilled a hole on the side of the case right here. Those two wires are going to basically come out and go to the pressure switch. I didn't go over the pressure switch, which pressure switch I got. Got this off of Amazon. Here's the box that it came in. I think it's called Comp Studio 7100 PSI. There's a few different versions, or different PSI versions of it. I got the 7100. What that means is once it hits 70 or once the pressure drops to 70 psi, the compressor will turn on. and then when it hits 100 psi, it'll turn off. And that's basically that's how it's gonna keep you from having to have that little relief valve here constantly go off, on and off, because we're using a regular chuck. So when you flip that switch on, the compressor will come on because it's below 70 psi. And to check that, I got my voltmeter here. I'm gonna check continuity. I'm just gonna click it right here and right here. So you can hear it beep. That means power's flowing through it. So obviously, because there's no pressure built up right now, so that means the compressor is going to turn on like normal. And then again, once it reaches its preset setting, in my case it's 100 psi, it'll turn off. And then as the pressure drops, once it hits 70 psi, it'll automatically just kick the compressor back on and start running like normal. So next part will be showing the wiring all done up. Alright, just want to show you the 2 wires I ran into here. Doesn't matter color wise, I just went with black just so it blends in with the rest of it once it's ran outside. Anyways, you can see I cut the factory wiring here. Originally they were connected like that. I cut it and I took one of the wires, ran in it and soldered it in. You can see it's soldered there, and then ran in a second wire and soldered it to the other side. And then I'm going to shrink wrap them right now, and then once I'm done with that, I can pull this back out. This can all go back together, and then I'll go. Alright, show this one last time before I button it up, and we'll move on to the next part of the wiring. You can see it's all soldered up right now. I'm going to put all this back together and pull this out, take all the excess out, get it as close as I can to here, figure out how I'm going to route this so it's not touching anything that might melt it. And then I'll show you that part next. Alright, got the wire out here. I added a little bit of a, I don't know, they call it an expanding sleeve, a little wire loom. Clean it up a little bit, keep the wires protected from heat, I guess. You can see it's a little big for the wire I'm using, but what I had left from another project. See it right here. They come in a lot of different sizes. This is a 3/4 inch. Got 100 feet of it. I do a lot of do-it-yourself projects. At the end of it, I got these little, where are they at? Right here. Got a couple of these right here. I don't know. I don't think they're spade connectors. I don't know exactly what they're called. But basically, they're same size as these right here, so they're just plugged right in. That's the thing with this, since it's always open and all it is just a on and off switch based off of pressure. It doesn't matter which way you plug these in as long as it's plugged in. So kind of hard to do this with holding a phone. There we go. All right, there it is. So next thing, you can see a little excess here, but that's okay. Might run a zip tie somewhere. Try to clean it up a little more. Still gotta put this back on, the hose back on the back of it. That had to come off to take the cover off. I don't think I went over that earlier. But there, pressure switch is installed. Next step will be testing this out, and hopefully if I did it right, it should be turning off right around 100 psi before it even blows the relief valve, and then back on once it gets down to 70 psi. So, all right, be right back. Here we are, 0 psi, always closed air chuck. Compressor's wired up to a battery right now. Turn it on. Let's take a look at the pressure switch or the pressure as it goes. Bam. Right past. Well, I guess a little shy. Well, this gauge is probably off, but it's supposed to turn off right around 100 psi. And and then kick on at 70. There's a little bleeder here, so we're gonna bleed some air out and see if it works. There it is. How cool is that? Air up your tires. Automatically turns off when you pull off the tire valve stem. Back on as you air up.